All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome to the Truck Around and Find Out podcast, TAFO. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Couch with Rocky Mountain Peterbilts on YouTube and Rush Truck Center out of Greeley, Colorado. And we also have Ryan Byers, owner of Front Range Compliance and DOT University. Morning, Ryan.
Hey, good morning, Keith. How's it going today?
Good.
Deal. Yeah, happy to get together. I was impressed this morning. You pulled up driving the cool little car this morning that we got up there in the picture. I heard you pull up, and I was like, I haven't heard that exhaust system. At first, I thought it was a Harley, and then I was kind of embarrassed when I saw it was your car. I was like, heard that beautiful exhaust.
For those that don't know, it's a '67 Firebird.
It is a beautiful car,
400 Pontiac, and it turns money into noise.
And you have you've done some nice little upgrades on that too. I think the biggest thing was you converted it to fuel injection. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Big difference.
Yeah. Big difference, especially at this altitude. Fuels today aren't what they were in the 60s. They use hydrocracking and everything, which is more water in the fuel than they used to have. And at this altitude, when it gets like it's supposed to be 100 degrees today, vapor locking is a very real thing. So you got to increase your pressure on your fuel lines. And everybody around here told me don't put the inline fuel pump. It's got to be the in-tank fuel pump. Still gets too hot. So I just replaced the whole tank and pump and everything. So I can, 100-degree day like this, at this altitude, I can run to Estes, shut it off, go eat lunch, come back out, fires right up, come right back down. So
big difference.
Yeah, big difference in these old cars when you switch them to fuel injection. And that was a process.
It was.
I learned a lot.
I bet you did. Yeah, it's a absolutely gorgeous car, that kind of thing. So I was happy.
It's not as fast as yours.
See you driving it this morning. Yeah.
We will not be racing for pink slips.
Well, with that being said, you also are wearing a pretty cool shirt this morning. Mm-hmm. I noticed. A little Hawaiian shirt with a
Shirt Friday.
Hawaiian Shirt Friday, ATF Friday. We like
Friday.
To refer to ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Right.
So yeah, we like to every once in a while get together and have a little fun. So you're
driving the hot rod. Wearing a shirt with guns on it, retro rifle,
and
the hat.
Compliments of the American flag hat. You're
Thank
totally
you, Logan,
sporting it
Fusion.
today. Yeah, very nice of him to whip that out. Very cool. Yeah. So, well, love to see it. And thanks for joining us again on today's podcast. We got some interesting topics that we want to get into. First one that I wanted to dive into today was going to be the Front Range Compliance has got some big news. We have landed an agreement with the Nevada Trucking Association. We're going to be hosting a series of trainings for Nevada. If you are a member of the NTA, the Nevada Trucking Association, you're going to get to go through some of my trainings. So we're going to do instructor-led online training. I tried real hard to convince her that she needed to, fly me down to Reno, every time we wanted to do a class so we could do in person. I just couldn't strike that deal. So probably good that, I'm not going to be spending too much time in Nevada playing the craps tables, that kind of thing. I do like those craps tables. They're a lot of fun. I'm not a big slot person, and apparently I'm no good at poker. So throw the dice,
I'm no good at any of it.
No good at any of it. Craps is a lot of fun. I taught the kids how to play craps last year, and I think Redbeard and his wife Hannah, I think they kind of fell in love with that game too.
Yeah, when we went to Las Vegas, what was it, 2-3 years ago now?
It was 2 years ago, yeah.
Hannah made almost $250 playing craps.
And we're starting with a low buy-in, so yeah, it's if you play it right,
Well, everybody always told me, so when you go out there and they said you see an empty table, just walk up and have them teach you how to do it. Yep. I tried that twice and they had no interest.
Well, I learned, I was at a conference with the State Patrol, and it was called Desert Snow, and that's when you go out to, it's a criminal interdiction school, and it's put on by Joe David. He was a highway patrolman for California. Joe had personally taken so much drugs and money off the street that the cartel has an active hit on him. Like he has to live a protected lifestyle, but he puts on this class, and it's amazing. I learned so much, but you actually go out and you crawl the loads. Like they have trucks and trailers set up, and they've got cargo in them, and you've got to go find where they're stashing the drugs on this. And he takes you through the whole thing from driver interviews to crawling. Well, it's held in Laughlin, Nevada. So casinos, but not as big and busy as Las Vegas. And I went down there on that first day, and I was kind of standing back, and I was watching. There was a couple people at the craps tables, and I was just kind of standing back watching. And the one of the dealers said, "Did you want to play?" And I was like, "I don't have any idea." She goes, "Well, I'll teach you. All you got to do is throw $20 on the table, and I will teach you a strategy to play craps." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." She's like, "It's $20." She's like, "What if I told you if you play the way I tell you, you're going to come out ahead?" And I was like, "Oh, $20. I'll try it." Shoot, man. The rest of that, I threw $20 on the table. I did everything she told me to do. I was crawling those loads, and I had the chips from the casino were falling out of my pocket. As soon as we get back to the casino, I was back at that table just trying to get it all figured out. But what I've discovered is craps has so many different options. You start playing all those other bets, it's it can get it can turn real fast. You can go up, but you can also go down. And I kind of showed that to Luke and Hannah too when we were playing last year. It was like, wow, Dad's up like $2,000, and the next minute it's like, wow, Dad's like negative $700 right now. Yeah. So it was definitely it's a ride, but it's a lot of fun if you go into it with a strategy and play the long game, and you're willing to sit there for a couple hours. You could very easily come out ahead, and if it goes right, you might come out quite a ways ahead.
Not a gambler, so
yeah, I know.
I put a nickel in a slot machine up in Minnesota on a reservation up there.
Yeah,
my uncle was running a casino, and all of a sudden it just hit, and I had like those big gulp cups. I had 7 of them full of nickels, and I walked them out to the car, and everybody said, "What are you doing? You got to keep playing." I said, "Nope." Yeah, I put in a nickel. I got 7 big gulps full of nickels. I'm out of here.
That's a good win, though. That's where you're supposed to do it, right? It's definitely a game. But anyways, all right, let's get back on topic here. We're just got a little weave right there going on. But so for Nevada, we're going to be teaching a series of different classes. We're going to be teaching reasonable suspicion, drug and alcohol testing, training specifically for supervisors. And it looks like we're going to be doing that one. Looks like a quarterly basis. So that's going to give a lot of people an option. That is a required class. So, all supervisors that have interaction with CDL drivers are required to go through that training. I would also recommend it, for any company that has a drug-free workplace policy, if they do for cause testing, things like that, it's a great training to get in. And I would say one of the things that I really like to focus on, because it's the number one tested drug, is going to be marijuana. I call it the weed update, right? Because the products that are out there, the way this industry is going, they're doing everything they can to mask those products. So really happy that they are going to allow me to do that quarterly training with them. It looks like 3 times a year we're going to be doing a defensive driving class. We call ours the Safer Defensive Driving Principle, and it's not about how you drive that truck. It's about basically the actions it's about that moments before an incident, a hazard happens, everything that goes through your mind, and it's based on, seeing the hazard, anticipating the actions of others, finding space, evaluating conditions, and reacting to the situation. And it kind of applies to, doesn't matter what vehicle you're driving. My training is, of course, commercial vehicle oriented, but I've had drivers come and say, okay, can I send my kids to your class? Because I really want them to go through this too. So it's a really good class that is hopefully, going to help drivers take that brief moment, regardless of the vehicle and realize, hey, I see a hazard, and start these steps and things like that. So we're going to be teaching that one 3 times a year. We're also going to be doing periodic inspector qualifications, which is one of our big classes here in Colorado. They did sign up for my longer class. We're going to be doing the 6-hour class there, where we'll be working with inspectors for their qualifications, and we're going to be doing some drug and alcohol policies and procedures. So walking organizations, walking safety people, through their drug and alcohol policy, what they need to have, how they need to develop it, and how they need to train it with their staff. And then twice a year, we're going to do what's called the DER class, Designated Employer Representative. So that is the person in the organization that is fully responsible for the drug and alcohol testing programs, the policies. So that's kind of the big one, the whole 9 yards. And we're going to be doing our big DOT compliance essentials class. That's where in an 8-hour day, it's a full day of training. Sometimes we break it into two, or we do a half of it on one day and half of it on the next day. But I think we're going to be doing the full class. And that is 8 hours of I'm going to explain an entire DOT program. It's like in order for an enforcement person to get certified to do their training, they go through a 2-week class, 80 hours, and they go through way more in depth, obviously. But I kind of took all that information and crammed that into an 8-hour day. And at the end of that day, my voice is shot and everybody's brains is pretty much, mud at that point. But it does outline the overall program. So yeah, we've got a good set of classes set up for Nevada Trucking Association. So super excited
I've got some
to
customers
get that
out there. I'll have to let them know.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, that's exciting and good stuff.
So coming up here in Colorado, we've got chain laws.
We do.
Right around the corner.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be 100 degrees today, so you don't even think about it. But we got, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks on September 1. And the drivers, y'all get a reminder real fast. If you've driven through Colorado, you know what I'm talking about, because at the port of entries, they're going to be looking for chains. And then at the end, it's usually out by dot zero. When you're on I-70 and you're heading out there, and there's got that great big, it's dot zero or Edwards in that area. There's that, you get off the interstate and there's that huge truck parking lot that's kind of to the, I guess it would be the north side of I-70 there. The State Patrol sets up a big team operation where they bring out troopers, they bring out all the motor carrier people, and they sign the highway, and all the big trucks just exit and pull through that parking lot, and that's where they start. That's the day that they begin their educational campaign. And by education means, hey, got to have chains.
Yes.
So it used to be they'd give warnings. I think now they're writing tickets because there are some penalties. So be prepared. As you were saying, we got chain law coming up.
Yeah.
So, and we've got some recent updates to the chain law in 2024.
Yeah,
so
they did make some changes.
Yeah, so some of those big changes are pretty huge overall.
Especially the fines.
Yeah, well, the fines are definitely a thing, and I would remind everybody that the biggest part of this rule is from September 1 to May 31st, that if you're driving a commercial motor vehicle, a combination that's larger than 16,000 pounds, you have to carry chains. You have to have the chains on you. But I think the biggest thing that of these changes that catches drivers is what tires they have to chain. That's kind of the biggest question I get. So we get questions like, well, should we chain our steer axles? Do we chain our trailers? I get companies say, we chain all tires. And I'm just kind of like, why? That's not what you're supposed to do. So
Gotta have the ones that are powered. But
yeah.
But now it's 4 tires.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're driving.
Yeah. Four tires. So straight trucks.
Straight truck,
Single
single
screw, one drive axle. You got to
chain them all 4
tires. So, I know we were talking about this before. First time you threw chains and put them on there, how'd that experience go for you?
It was awful.
Terrible, right? Terrible.
Yeah,
well, now, and I would imagine you probably just put chains on the outside tire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But with this 2024 rule, single drive axle truck that's over 16,000 pounds, it's got to have 4 tires chained. So across that dual axle, you're chaining both inside and outside.
That's not just double the work.
It's and especially given the weather, it's a miserable day. You're gonna be climbing underneath there putting.
When you brought up chain training,
I did.
And that is such a good idea.
I the first time I was asked to do this, I was kind of shocked because I'm not a commercial motor vehicle driver, but I really enjoyed putting this training together, getting with the drivers, and that type of thing. And what we do is when we bring the group together, and you can do this within your own organization, and I definitely recommend it, right? Especially now, it's a nice day outside, especially we get in toward the fall, where we start getting some nicer days. Bring your drivers in and do it out in the parking lot. Take a truck out there, have them pull out the chains, and lay them out, inspect them, make sure that they're putting the chains on, right? We want the hooks out, not the claw facing the tire. You want all the slack out of the chain. You want them to learn how to use that cam tool, how to hook them up, get them cinched up tight, how to put the bungee cords on to account for the slack and things like that. Have the education with them about, hey, you got chains on, you need to drop that speed down. Not, you see the guy that throws chains on and he's going 50 mile an hour up the pass. It's like, whoa, slow down, guys, slow down.
We do those on-spot chains that just, you flip a switch on the dash and they go down and push against the tire. We had one guy come in and say, oh, you sold me faulty ones. And it's like, all the chains were gone. It's like, how fast did you deploy these?
Wow.
Well, they figured they were doing 65, 70. Those things just come apart.
Yeah, they do. I imagine everything that they destroy when they come apart. Oh, my gosh. There's probably a car with a nice little chain pattern.
I guarantee you there is.
My Lord. That's crazy. Funny story. Yeah. So we get to alternate traction devices since you brought those up, but really funny story. Back with my rookie days, when I say rookie days, I was in motor carrier safety. I had climbed underneath the truck, and I had never seen an automatic chain device in my life. I had no idea what I was looking at, and I was completely lost, and I had to get up and go up and ask the driver. Because I thought, again, rookie days, I thought I was looking at a brake chamber at first. Yeah. And I was like, this is not making sense to me. I didn't know what that thing was, and I went and asked the driver. He got a good laugh. I was like, look, man, I don't know what this is. Can you explain it to me? And I had him come back, and he was happy to do it. But I got my on-road training from a driver that day because I just straight up didn't know. But at least I swallowed my pride, and I went and asked the driver.
They work great.
Hey, can you come and explain that to me? Yeah. Good. Yeah, it is definitely an alternate traction device. I think the biggest thing that drivers got to remember when it comes to automatic training is they have to be active before you spin out.
Correct.
Because if you spin out, you're done. At that point, you're not going to get the traction. They're not going to fly. They're not going to go underneath your tires. So got to get them activated. So other alternate traction devices that you can have, besides the automatic chain device, you can have automatic sanders.
Sanders?
Yeah. Have you ever used the automatic sander?
I never have.
Do you put them on for some of your customers?
We've never done it. I've never seen them put on in our shop.
Okay.
I do have a customer that does use those.
Yeah. So the automatic sanders, they are authorized. My biggest thing when it comes to the automatic sanders is you got what you got, that little tank, and when you run out, you run out. So that's always a concern. I guess drivers could plan to stop when they get back down and out of the chain zone, they could stop and refill if they needed to. But, again, it is limited. But I think my favorite automatic traction device is, you want to take a guess at what my favorite one is? The good old auto sock.
Socks.
The auto socks, yeah. It was
tire socks.
Yeah, invented by a guy in Sweden. Yep. Have you heard that story?
Yeah, it's a good story.
Yeah, he would.
Simple.
Yeah, so simple and ingenious, and what a way to do it. Walking out, getting his newspaper, he couldn't figure out when he would, go out and have his shoes on. He's slipping and sliding, and if he walked out in his socks, he was getting traction, and applied that same concept to a sock, built one, put it on a tire, and lo and behold, the auto sock was invented. So
the downside to them is once they've been used, you almost have to throw them away.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, they get kind of beat up, and drying them out, stuff's a little tough sometimes.
So
they just a little rough, but there's probably better quality ones out there now.
Yeah.
Than there used to be.
Gotcha. I think the newer ones I think are built to, I think they brought that technology a long way. I think that one of the biggest things is, again, when it comes to that auto sock, the most important thing is you've got to slow yourself down. Yeah. Like we're talking,
all of this stuff's under 35.
Yeah, we're talking. You need to get down to a crawl and then tear them, pull them off. But when we talk about putting them on, when you're throwing chains, that's hard work. It's gonna bust your hands. I tell everybody, paint that cam tool neon green or blaze orange, so when you drop it in the snow, you can find it. They come from the manufacturer, just a light colored gray, and you drop that thing in the snow, it's going to be gone. So second pro tip I'm going to give you is carry a second cam tool. Have one to the side. Usually a lot of the, especially along the interstates here in Colorado, a lot of the chain up zones will have a company there that can help put, you can pay them to put your chains on, or you can buy tools from them. So I would imagine that costs an arm and a leg, but in comparison, the fines and the tow bill, it's going to happen in the penalty side. So with that, I just wanted to bring up, so we've got who must have 4 chains, right? Which we talked about the single axles. So that's going to be if you're a single screw, if you're like a 3 or 4 axle combo, but your tractor just has 1 drive axle, you still have to chain 2. Tandem axle trucks, you're going to have to chain, that type of thing. Auto haulers, or, automobile, they also have to chain 4 tires. 2 tires, we get into that. We're going to be talking about buses, and we're going to be talking about some hot shot operations. However, there is a caveat to that. If it's a hot shot operation and you've got a dually pickup, you do have to have 4 chains on that. Now, here in Colorado, one of the biggest updates to that whole section is going to be the major mountain highways. Everything basically to the west of the I-25 corridor. Once you get up into the mountains, pretty much all those major mountain highways are going to require you carry chains, and that is September 1 through the 31st. Now, you mentioned a minute ago, through May 31st. Got to have those chains with you and then put them on. And if you fail to put them on or fail to carry them, there's penalties. And you mentioned that there's some interesting penalties. Can get pretty steep. So first off, anytime from that time of year, September 1 to May 31st, if you get pulled over and you're in that section of the area of the state, they're going to check. Part of their inspection procedures are going to check to make sure you have your chains. And if you don't, you're looking at a non-compliance fine at a roadside level for about $132. So expect a ticket if you're not carrying the proper chains. And they will check to make sure you have four chains or 4 alternate traction devices. So do make sure that you're carrying those with you. I think that's not the big one though, right? The biggest penalty that we were just discussing is going to be non-compliance. If you skip the chain zone and you drive past and you don't chain up and you hit up the pass, you're looking about a $578 fine. But then the big one, Keith, is going to be if you spin out and block a lane, ouch, $1,156. But does the fine, you think, stop there?
No.
No, because you're spun out, so
you're done.
Every one of those passes have got big old heavy haul tow trucks just waiting for the phone call, and you spin out, they're going to pull up, back up to you, hook up to you, and they're going to pull you to the top of the mountain, and you're going to get a corresponding tow bill that's going to go in connection with that fine.
That's going to be expensive because I think you're about $10,000 just a hook.
I don't know what that fee is. I'd be interested to call some companies and say, hey, what are you charging? Because that's going to be exponential. So make sure you're on top of that good stuff. So, anyways, all right, well, perfect. Then the next thing I just wanted to bring up a couple different things here is. This week of this podcast, we are now into Brake Safety Week. We talked a little bit about it on our last episode. The focus of Brake Safety Week is, of course, Operation Air Brake. They're really going to be focusing on brakes. I will tell you this, that there are a lot of roadside enforcement officers that have made an entire career inspecting small combination vehicles. So you out there that have the hot shot operations, pickups, trailers, that kind of thing, don't forget about your electric brake trailers. They too need to have brake services. The number one out of service violation for an electric brake trailer is the breakaway brake. So make sure you're properly testing those things, and that they are functioning. The cable is in good condition. Everything is hooked up and of course working. Like, don't be afraid while you're doing your pre-trip to go out, pull that pigtail, disconnect the electrical connection between your truck and your trailer, inspect that full cable, pull the pin out of the breakaway brake, and then drag that trailer forward about 10, 15 feet. Make sure you're getting a good, proper brake. If it's grabbing and it's braking, you don't have to have a tug-of-war contest. You're good. But at least make sure that your brakes are functioning and you're getting that thing, because that is an easy out of service. And unfortunately, nobody's checking them. So there will be, when we get the report for, when CVSA releases the findings for Brake Safety Week, you are going to see, a substantial size of electric brake trailers that also got found that were out. So just wanted to bring that up. Okay. My last topic that I got for Truck Around and Find Out this week is the Paperwork Reduction Act has struck again. So, Paperwork Reduction Act, I think my first big interaction with the Paperwork Reduction Act was going to be back in 2014. The administration tasked all the federal organizations with looking at their program and doing something to reduce paper, to cause some, costs and that. And the FMCSA's response to that was to eliminate the DVIR, the need to fill the DVIR out every day, that kind of thing. You still have to do an inspection every day, but that DVIR, they added into the regulation that you only have to fill that paperwork out on the days that your driver finds a defect. So that was my big first interaction. I personally like that rule. I can sell it, and in the concept, I get a lot of companies that say, hey, we still want to do it every day, and you can, because their statement is that way I know they're doing the inspection, and every once in a while I have to remind them, well, just because they did that paperwork doesn't mean that they actually did the inspection, because there's a lot of guys, unfortunately, that just fill out the paperwork and didn't really do the inspection. So I don't really care how they do it. But, okay, to get back on topic here, the Paperwork Reduction Act hit the hazmat regulations through PHMSA, and I think this is going to be absolutely fantastic. I've been getting the question for years as I teach my hazmat training as why can't we do this? And that is going to be the electronic production, or being able to produce your records electronically at a roadside inspection or at a scene of a crash, that kind of thing. Hazmat has kind of been a little bit behind the wheel, not behind the wheel. I don't know how I want to say that, but they've been behind on this one straight up, because they've said, no, all your hazmat records that you get pulled over on the side of the road at a crash scene, things like that, they cannot be electronically produced at that level. You have to have actual hard copies of them. So with that being said, 49 CFR in 107, there is an update to the regulation. It started with the hazmat registration. So that'll be the PHMSA hazmat registration. If you're carrying placardable hazmat or some different higher levels of hazmat, you have to be registered with PHMSA. So the certificate of registration and all other records and information may be furnished in electronic or paper form. So before the emergency response guide. So I've got on my trusty dusty phone here, I've got the ERG. I purchased it clear back in 2014. That's a record, that little orange book for hazmat that's got all the proper response procedures. It's a great app, and I purchased it once. And I just thought, well, because they update that book every 4 years, I was like, I'm going to have to repurchase this every 4 years. And lo and behold, every time the rules update, my app updates. They don't charge me a dime for it, and it was best purchase ever. Yeah. So no matter what, I can pull that up. I can go use it just like an ERG. I can even PDF it. So I've told so many companies through the years, you just have to have your emergency response guide, for your commodities that you're hauling. You can PDF it, send it yourself, print it out, and have it. However, now you can have that app and utilize that. That is something that's going to be allowed. It says all relating documents. That means your shipping papers, that you can set everything up to be electronic. I think it's going to be kind of a new age and a new era for hazmat haulers, a way they can produce their records, carry their records, and overall compliance. And, I think one of the big things is that when a driver leaves, though, I think that's going to be one of the questions got to be answered. When you step out of that truck, then the hazmat information has to be readily available from outside. So that's why we say keep it in the door pocket, keep it either on the seat or in front of the driver's seat. It's got to be, when a truck driver's driving, it's got to be from a normal seat belted position. So some of those hurdles we're still going to kind of have to figure out. But overall, like I said, Paperwork Reduction Act, I think that we're on the right path. The industry's going to figure out, how to deal with some of these other issues. But I think it's overall a pretty good thing. Good. So, yeah. So good topics. All right, Keith. Well, anything you want to throw in from there?
No,
kind of brings
good.
Brings it good.
Nothing's changed at Peterbilt. Everything's kind of the same.
Everything's the same. Give Keith a call and get yourself a Peterbilt. I think you told me you got a tank truck available, but
yeah,
I got a client. I'm going to hopefully get
non CDL little truck,
little tank truck. I'm going to see if we can make a couple calls and see if we can help you get that thing sold. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in and catching this episode of Truck Around and Find Out. We appreciate everything that you do with your work and commitment. You're moving America forward. So keep her shiny side up and stay safe out there, and hopefully catch you on one of the next podcasts.
God bless you guys.